What's up, you guys? So I wanted to do a deck profile today, and the deck I'm playing are Mekk Knights. I've been playing Mekk Knights for about a year and a half, and I finally wanted to show off what I got. So let's start off with the best Mekk Knight of all. We are playing 3 Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall. He's basically the Swiss Army knife of the entire deck. He can search out all the other Mekk Knights by banishing himself until your next standby phase, and he can actually do that during either player's turn, so he can dodge effects that target as well as attacks. He can also reoccur himself as well as help out resource your opponent, so I mean, what more could you ask for, right? Really, really great card. Love him. Next, we are playing 3 Mekk Knight Blue Sky. He can also search out your other Mekk Knight monsters as long as there's a card in the same column as him whenever he's special summoned. I know that some people are preferring to only play 2, but I think that's completely wrong. You gotta play this guy at 3, especially now that we got Girsu in the deck. I also have a real soft spot for this guy, not just because blue's my favorite color, but also because this is the Mekk Knight that made me want to start playing Mekk Knights. So yeah, I really love this guy. Really great card. Next, we are playing 3 of the new guy. We're playing 3 Girsu, the Orcus Mekk Knight. I think this is such a great addition to the Mekk Knight archetype. He's got a pretty decent attack. He's also level 4, so you can normal summon him pretty easily. He's got this really cool effect where you can special summon a token to your opponent's side of the field, which helps out with your Mekk Knight plays and combos real well with Blue Sky. You can also send a World Legacy monster from your deck to the grave, which helps out with a little combo that I'll showcase later, but yeah. You got to play this card at 3, especially if you're playing the pure variant, so really, really good. Next, we are playing only 1 Indigo Eclipse. You only really need 1. We don't really go into this guy very often. But he's basically in the deck to help me organize my shit. Basically what he does is he can move all the other Mekk Knights, including himself, around during either player's turn, which comes in handy whenever you got the World Legacy floodgates up. But he's also level 8. He's got a pretty decent attack. So yeah, really, really good. But you only need 1. Next, we are playing 1 Red Moon. Whenever your opponent has a monster that we want to get rid of, this is the guy to get the job done. He pops off any monster that's in the same column as him by banishing a Mekk Knight monster in your graveyard. So, really good. I like him. Next, we are playing 1 Yellow Star. Basically to help get rid of your opponent's back row. Not that Mekk Knights really have a hard time dealing with back row, but I mean, she helps. She's also got a pretty decent defense, and she's real pretty, so I like her. We are playing the Invoke variant, so we do need to play 3 Alistair the Invoker. He just searches out your invocation. Not really much to say there. You need him. Next, we are playing 2 Gamma Seals. Easily the best kaiju, just because it's the weakest. We can run over real easily. Basically, this is just to get rid of monsters, problematic monsters that your opponent has on the field. What's really cool about her is that if you have a Mekk Knight Blue Sky in hand, you can special summon this in the same column as your opponent's back row or maybe extra deck monster zone monster, and you can search off 2 cards instead of 1 with Blue Sky, sometimes 3. She just really combos well with him, so yeah, really, really good card. Next, we are playing 1 Kaku. This Gizmek is pretty cool. You can special summon him pretty easily in this deck just because we play a whole bunch of Link monsters. Anytime there's a monster in the extra monster zone, you can bring him out. You can also suck up a monster from the extra monster zone, which doesn't really come up too often, but when it does, it's pretty cool. But basically, we're playing him just because he's a level 9 monster, and he helps out with the World Legacy Monstrosity combo, which is why we're also playing 1 Melodark and 1 Fathermore. These guys are absolute bricks in the deck. I don't ever want to see them, but we need them for the combo, which is just too strong. It's too strong. So we need these guys. It is what it is. Yeah. Next, because we are playing the Invoke variant, we do need to play 3 Invocations. This card is almost pretty much a brick sometimes, unless we have an Alistair in hand. But we do need to play 3 because, yeah, I'll showcase later. But yeah, I mean, this is also a real beautiful ulti. Because it came out as an ulti is the reason why I wanted to play the Invoke variant. I mean, it's just gorgeous, man. I like it a lot. Next, we are playing only 2 Magical Meltdowns. I think that 3 is just too bricky. I don't think you really need 3. 2 is okay. 2 is good. Especially since we are playing the 1 Terraforming, which, by the way, is the ugliest ulti I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, this is just to search out your Alistair. And this is just to search out your Magical Meltdown. Magical Meltdown also prevents your opponent from stopping your invocation plays, which also comes in handy. But yeah, I think 2 is good enough. Next, we are playing the 1 Instant Fusion. Because we are playing a Thousand Eyes Restrict in the deck, we need to play this card. This card also brings out a Thousand Eyes Restrict onto our extra monster zone. So that helps us with our Mekk Knight plays. So yeah, really, really good card. Plus it's another ulti, so just more flex to add, right? Next we are playing 2 Pot of Desires. I don't really like this card too much, but it is our draw power card. I know that 3 Tactical Talents is coming out soon in the near future, but honestly I would still be playing this card at 2. It's pretty good. I like it. Plus, again, another beautiful ulti, just more flex. Next, because this is a going second deck, we are playing 3 Lightning Storms. I know that this is an expensive card. If you can't afford it, you can always play Evenly Matched. But what I do like about this card over Evenly Matched is the fact that you can either get rid of your opponent's back row or the face-up attack position monsters that they control. This gives you a little bit more options and a little bit more control as to how you want to make your plays, which I really like a lot. So yeah, really great card. Super powerful. And like I said, because we are going second, we have to play 3 Dark Ruler No More, because you know there's so many combo decks running around right now that build up these big monster boards that we got to go through, and this is the card to get the job done. Everybody knows what this card does. Really great. Gotta play it at 3. Next we are playing the 1 World Legacy Succession. I know that a lot of people are preferring to play Monster Reborn, but this one's just easily accessible in this deck. We can search it off, and this helps with the Troop King play, so gotta play it. Next, we are playing the 1 World Legacy Monstrosity. This card's really easy for us to use because we are playing the Invoke variant, so we can bring out Mekaba, which is a level 9 monster, special summon any 2 other level 9 monsters from our deck to the field as long as they're a different attribute and different type. So this card is really easy for us to use, which is also why we're playing the Gizmek Kaku. This card also helps us unbrick our hand whenever we draw the Fathermore or the Melodark, you know, because then we can just special summon those monsters from our hand to the field. So yeah, it's really good. I like it. Next we are playing 1 World Legacy Key. This helps us stop our opponent's back row, helps us against Eldritch and all that. It does have another effect where you can also add back a banished Mekk Knight back to your hand. We don't really use that effect too often, but you know, it is what it is. I still like it though. It's also another World Legacy card, so why not? Next on to the traps, we are playing 3 Infinite Impermanence. Dark Ruler No More on its own is just no longer that great anymore, guys. We do need to play some form of hand traps. I don't really like Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler. I know that there's a new Ghost Girl that's kind of similar to Infinite Impermanence, but I still think Imperm is just a superior hand trap. Just because it can't be called by the grave and you can set it face down, it can also help out your Mekk Knight plays by giving you back row. If you did set it face down, it can also stop your opponent's spell and traps that are in the same column as it. So, I mean, it's just an overall great card in the Mekk Knight deck. So, yeah, I really like it. Next, we are playing the 1 World Legacy Secrets. This card is basically a floodgate that stops activated monster effects that are in the same column as your Mekk Knight monsters. It can also special summon a level 5 or higher monster from your graveyard. We usually bring back Indigo Eclipse with it, which is really great because Indigo Eclipse can move itself, so it can negate 2 activated monster effects for the price of 1. That's really fucking phenomenal. A lot of people actually don't know what this card does sometimes, which is kind of ironic since there's so many Mekk Knight decks running around. So they'll keep activating monster effects in the same column as a Mekk Knight monster, thinking that you can only negate it once. That is not the case. It's a floodgate. It just keeps on negating activated monster effects. So, really great. Now on to the extra deck. We are playing 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict. Because we are playing Instant Fusion, you can bring this guy out in your extra monster zone and then suck up a monster and put it in your back row, and that helps you out with your Mekk Knight plays. It can also help out your opponent's board, which is really good. So yeah, I like this card. Really great. Next, we are playing 1 Invoked Caliga. This card is honestly almost True King powerful. It's so great. It basically says that both players can only attempt to activate 1 monster effect per turn and can only attack with 1 monster per turn. That just really messes up your opponent a lot, especially if they rely on monster effects. And if you've got a Mecha Ball on the field, it combos really well with this card, just because if you negate a monster effect, that's it. Your opponent can't activate any more monster effects after that. So this card just really messes up opponents. Really good. Next, we are playing the 1 Invoke Purgatrio. This is basically just to help out with our OTK plays. It's also a big blowout. It can wipe out your opponent's entire monster board. So yeah, definitely necessary for this deck. Really good card. Next, we are playing the 1 Invoke Mekaba. I know that a lot of people prefer to play 2. I honestly never really go into 2. I never really need a second one. 1 is good enough for me. It's really good. It's a potential Omni Negate depending on what you have in your hand. It banishes the card. It doesn't destroy it. So that's really, really good. I like this card. Everybody knows what this does. Next, we are playing the 1 Almirage. This is just for Alistair. We link it off into Almirage. We don't really use its effect. We basically use Almirage to go ahead and link climb into our 1 Secure Gardna. Secure Gardna is just so that we have Mekaba on standby always. I don't really use its effect too often. Like I said, we just use it as fodder in order to fuse off with Alistair to bring out Mekaba, so it is what it is. Next, we are playing the 1 IP Masquerena. I know this is a real powerful card, but I don't really use it as much as I'd like to. But it does make a mean Avermax. We usually use it to make a mean Boral Sword, however. So, I mean, she's really good. I like her. I just wish I could use her more than I usually do. Next, we are playing the 1 Lib. Lib is really good. She's really easy to make now that we got Girsu. We just send the Melodark to the graveyard. We use the token and the Girsu and link them off into her. And we can search out a World Legacy spell or trap, set it to our field, which also helps out with our Mekk Knight plays. And she's just really good. She can also spin a card back without targeting to your opponent's deck, as long as she's used as link material. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, usually we make her before we make our 1 Mekk Knight Morningstar. She is our other searcher. She's really, really good. She can also protect your other Mekk Knights from battle as well as protect your life points. A lot of people don't read into her, so, you know, they'll just be attacking Mekk Knight monsters that aren't even in the same column as their monster, and they won't get destroyed by battle. You won't be taking any battle damage, and they can't figure out why. So yeah, she's really good. I love her. It's awesome. Next, we are playing the 1 Galatea. This is basically just Girsu's bitch. We don't really use her for anything else. This is a Mekk Knight deck. This is not an Orcus deck. So, yeah. But she's a real beautiful ulti, so I like her a lot. She's cool. Next, we are playing 1 Blackluster Soldier, the Soldier of Chaos. This is basically an Avermax in itself, because we are using a whole lot of level 7, level 8, level 9 monsters that we are able to bring out pretty easily. Anytime that it destroys a monster by battle, you can activate one of those following effects. It's got pretty good options. You can either banish a card anywhere, and it does not target, which is really, really cool. It can help out your opponent's board. It does have another effect where it can attack a second time on the next battle phase that it's involved in, but we don't really use that effect. The other one we actually do use a lot, where it gains 1500 attack, and it's pretty cool because if you use that effect, Eldritch players have a really hard time outing this card. I've won a few games against Eldritch just because of Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. So yeah, really great card. I love it a lot. Next, we are playing the 1 Boral Sword Dragon. This is basically just for our OTK plays, and with World Legacy Monstrosity, we can go into this guy real easily. So yeah, anytime your opponent just passes and we get to go, we can OTK with this guy. So really good. Next, we do play 1 Mekk Knight Avermax. I mean, this guy is just awesome. I love this guy. I go into this guy all the time. I usually go into him with Lib and Mekk Knight Morningstar. So, I mean, we just basically spin a card. He's also got an effect similar to Lib, where he can spin a card if he's sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card. That does not target either. So that's really good. There are times when people think that they can out him with Boral Sword, and that's not the case because his effect actually activates during the damage step. So his effect is the last one to go off. I've actually had players just lose just trying to attack into him, thinking that, you know, Boral Sword will just gain his attack and make him lose attack, and that's it. But nah. Eldritch players usually scoop to this guy if I make him with IP, so yeah, just keep that in mind. He's really good. He's hard for a lot of decks to out, so yeah. Next, we are playing the 1 Girsu, because we are playing Girsu in this deck, as well as Galatea. He can also help out your opponent's board by sending a card to the graveyard that does not target. He can also protect your other monsters as long as he's got an Xyz material and detaches it. So that's really, really cool. He's also a real gorgeous ulti. So, you know, I mean, he's actually one of my favorite ultis. Just really, really beautiful. I like him a lot. Next, we are also playing our last card, True King of All Calamities. Probably our most busted card in the deck. A lot of people are wanting this guy banned, and I can't help it but agree. I hope that he doesn't get banned. I mean, this guy is basically just a walking floodgate. You know, he negates... he just prevents the activation of all effects that your opponent controls. as long as they are the card that you declared. However, he turns all monsters into the attribute you declared on the field. So all those monsters on the field that your opponent controls, they can't activate their effects and they cannot attack. Even if this guy were to leave the field, you know, I mean, that is just stupid. That's ridiculous. So yeah, this guy's freaking ridiculous. I do think he should be banned. I hope he doesn't get banned because I love going into this guy. I mean, he just frustrates my opponent. So yeah, and that's basically it, guys. I'll go ahead and showcase the combo in a little bit. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the deck profile. I know I did. Catch you later.